Hello everybody, welcome back to my first ever reaction video. This is a live reaction to Big Machine's new song Renegade featuring Taylor Swift. I have not listened to this song at all before this, so I'm going to be discussing it. I'm going to have it in my earbuds, so you're not actually going to be able to hear the song, but I have the video sort of picture in picture, which you'll be able to see the timestamp of where I'm at. So you can follow along that way. So let's get it started. Immediately it sounds like Folklore or Evermore. You know, we know that we're in this era immediately. Immediately the first thing that comes to mind is that background kind of dudum dudum, the very synthy one, which I think Taylor really leans into a lot. Obviously she's a pop mega star. But I think with Folklore and Evermore, her most recent eras, I'll just for now on say Folkmore, doesn't need that, you know. That's her stripped down eras, and those are really important of moving away from the mega stardom of Reputation and Lover to a more pared down. As you can tell, I don't know anything about Big Red Machine. I only know stuff about Taylor, so what I'm saying is basically just about Taylor. The drums have more character, not the synth drums. The actual boom boom drums have more character in them than they do in Taylor's other work. And this isn't Taylor's work, this is featuring Taylor Swift, so that's Big Red Machine, you know, Aaron Dessner. Who is in Big Red Machine? Should have done my research. Oh, it's Bon Iver's Justin Vernon and Aaron Dessner. Yeah, so they're artists. They totally know what they're doing. What's also interesting about Taylor as a feature is she's the hardest feature to get, and for good reason. I mean, she's pretty much killing it. She is killing it in her own game. But what's interesting in this is when she has artists features such as Haim on No Body, No Crime, or the Chicks on Soon You'll Get Better, um, which those two come out stronger than others, is that they're pretty much in the background. Like Haim in No Body, No Crime, you can hardly hear. But when she, and those interestingly are both female artists, the Chicks and Haim. But when she has, you know, Bon Iver or in on Folklore or Brandon, whatever his name is, from the Panic at the Disco, he's also a big part of that song. But it seems like maybe with the female artists, she's not so big on the having them have a lot of space. But with Ed Sheeran and on Red, you know, everything has changed. Or Gary Lightbody on The Last Time, they both have substantial parts. Ed Sheeran again on Endgame, and someone else on Endgame too. Oh, and what I was going to say with regard to this song is Big Red Machine feel like they're in the background, and this is a Taylor Swift song. I mean, that's why I came out swinging with all this Taylor Swift stuff, not only because I know her a lot, but because this feels like a Taylor Swift song featuring Big Red Machine, which is interesting to listen to, not knowing Big Red Machine, but knowing Taylor Swift, as I do. Lyrically, it's a very Taylor Swift track. We have her talking about relationships and damaged and kind of more subjects that she tackles very effectively in her own songwriting. This feels like a Taylor Swift song in that right too, not just mechanically but contently as well. Yeah, that was a very strong line. And like most things, we don't know. I don't know who Taylor is referencing, but it's impactful. It's a strong lyric, it's a strong content, and she's talking about it pretty strongly and effectively. This song feels like a second half Evermore folkmore, track. It has the synth boom 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 and has the content of the kind of breaking apart and these shards, sharpness and stuff, which is very Taylor. Um, but again, on first listen, and I'm not done yet. It doesn't knock me out of the park. Gonna be honest, does not be like wow. It's effective Taylor. It's Taylor Swift. It's Taylor Swift in the eras that she's in right now, which is good, which is a high bar. That being said, that being that high bar, it's not like a Betty or an August or a Willow, that just knocking out of or Cowboy Like Me. Those are some of my personal favorite from the songwriting, from the feeling of the songs. This one's nice. It's Taylor, but it's not a grand slam. We have a little like off center, like not call and response, but like starts one and then I think that's Justin Vernon because I don't think Aaron Dessner sings. At least I haven't heard him sing. Um, Interesting. I'm gonna keep letting it play the last 15 seconds or so. Yeah, okay. First listen through, just finished. Not amazing, not knock it out of the park like I said. I thought that kind of call and response. Sorry, it's not call and response. It's like staggered, rather I should say. That staggered line, not effective um, for me. Not not something that I think benefits the song. I mean, it is a Big Red Machine song featuring Taylor Swift. I have to keep telling myself that. That being said, it sounds like I would hazard not just to me, but for most people, it sounds like a Taylor Swift song featuring Big Red Machine, both in the content and how much she's singing, which she deserves it because she's a big feature. She's obviously, or not a big, she's the feature. Um, but yeah, not amazing. I'm pretty picky with my music. I'm very picky. Um, wasn't smacked out of the park. A nice-ish song. Um, Taylor's obviously a very gifted songwriter and lyricist and singer. That comes through. The shards, that imagery, I still have those. If I knew how sharp the shards were, and that was just my first listen, and that imagery, that sharpness, those bits of glass, that's in my head. Um, so yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm very amateur at this. Please don't attack me in the comments, or do, and we can have a thoughtful discussion because that's what YouTube is for. Anyway, like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, leave a comment down below. I eat up comments for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And well, if it could have been you, wait, what's the lyric? If my wishes came true, it would have been you. You know who you are.